Welcome to Meet Your Toastmaster podcast. I am Toastmaster Neomal from Foreigner and JaEla Toastmasters Club. Today I have a very special guest from prominent Bank of Sri Lanka. He is the branch manager of JaEla DFCC Bank and the VP Education of JaEla Toastmasters Club, Mr. Niroshan Nanayakkara. Hello Niroshan, how are you?
Hi, Jamal. How are you? Good evening. And thanks for having me for this podcast.
It's our pleasure to have you here today, Toastmaster Niroshan. Now, let's talk about banking. People always want to apply for a bank loans for different reasons, but sometimes they find it difficult to apply because they don't have a fixed income. Now, let's say if I am a self-employed or I have my own private business or some other income, what are the criteria for us to apply for a bank loan and what are the facilities?
Yeah, Jamal, it's especially for self-employed person or startup business, the best advice I would give is it's like channeling your doctor. You have to give the true picture and you have to give the true details to your banker. Then only they would recommend and advise the most suitable solution to you. Now, in most of the case, what happening is like you are going to a doctor, you hide some details, you try to manipulate. Then what happened? You ended up with getting wrong solution. So this is one of the reason why the businesses are getting failed. So my first advice, if you are a startup, self-employed, give your true picture and it has to be very clear. You have to be very clear with your proposal. Have a 5-year plan. Have a 5-year your cash flow income projection and your expenses. So the most important advice is have a very clear plan and give true details to your bank, then you get the best solution. Now of course bankers are not businessmen, so that's why sometimes people businessmen think they don't know business, so we are the ones doing business, they don't know about business. But being in banking industry for many years and having seen the experience the business that started very small and grow up for very large scale. So all the bankers, especially loan officers and branch managers, they have, I mean, they carry a whole lot of experience. So they are the one of best people to get advice to your business. In addition to financial, they probably give advice on other areas as well. So have a clear plan, have a clear projection, and give actual prudent details to your banker.
Wow, what a great advice and what a great insight into bankers' mind. So now let's talk about crib. When you talk about the loan, the next thing comes into our mind is the crib. They are actually correlated. I know some of the people who actually signed as a guarantee for somebody else's loan. Now they can't apply for a loan because they are included into the crib. I want to know what are the scenarios you will be included into the crib and is it permanent or are there any ways that you can remove your name from the crib blacklist? So what's your opinion on that?
Yeah, crib. Now, earlier days, it used to be that the institution, financial institution, reporting whether you are a good repair, whether you are paying your loan at prompt, regular manner, and whether your loan repayment is irregular. But recently, during past 5 years, the crib role has been changed. Now crib is basically a database maintainer. So what they do is they extract data from all the financial institution and report it as it is. They don't say this is irregular payment, this is a bad repay borrower, nothing like that. So what they do is they do report the number of days in overdue and nothing like irregular. Of course, if the facilities in restructure and the institution initiated legal action or some other incident, that would indicate in your crib report. But crib is now a data provider. So whatever the data that are being reported from the financial institutions, it get uh, briefed to a one report. So that's the purpose of crib report now. Now, coming to your question, now if you have signed as a guarantor for facility, what's your liability? Now, why financial institution taking a guarantor to? Basically to guarantee the credit facility. So in case if the main borrower did not pay or he does not have the capacity to repay, of course that liability goes to the guarantor. So very be careful when you are signing. It's like same responsibility, same liability, like you are borrowing. Now, normally we say it's joint and several. That means two guarantors are signing in normal general condition for a credit facility. So let's say if somebody borrow 100,000 and two guarantors sign for that, so they are equally liable 100,000 individually and jointly. Let's say now two guarantors have signed and one guarantor has demised, he passed away. It is not 50,000 your liability, it's the 100,000. So basically you are liable for the total amount until it get repaid fully. So be careful when you are signing for a facility. You have to be very cautious because it's same like you are borrowing on your own. And mind you, the crib report shows 3 years past records. And any if legal action, resettlement facilities, it will carry on your crib report. So when you are signing for a guarantor, whether your family member or your friend, you have to take the responsibility of repaying that loan someday. So make sure when you are signing for someone, he has to be a good borrower with the repayment capacity. That's a responsibility of yours as well. Yeah.
Yeah, it's crystal clear right now and a very serious matter. I'm pretty sure our audience, you follow the advice from this manager, and you have to be cautious when you are signing for a loan facility or some other bond, and you have to rethink twice. So now let's move into the next question. Now, nowadays we hear there are some issues from borrowers from some of the financial institutions and their repayment capabilities. So, what is your advice for people who plan to invest money or they have some other sort of plans? How do you pick a bank or and a financial institute? What are the factors we have to wait on before choosing or selecting one? What's your idea?
Yeah, Nima. So the investment opportunities and investment areas always carry the risk and return. So it's the universal concept. If you want a high return, you have to take high risk. But there are other ways that you can mitigate your investment risk. So what I would advise for any investor, wherever you invest, just have a research on how this investor, not the investee, this organization going to repay the whatever the return they promise. Now let's say if you are investing 5% for a 5% return, what you need to understand is that person or that institution has to earn more than that. Then only they can pay you the return. So whenever you are investing, if someone promising you to give 20% return, you have to think how they're going to earn 25%. What sort of a business they are in to earn 25%. If you think on that line, you can sort and take the decision correctly rather than relying. Of course, we have indication like the government approved companies and various rating companies which gives the institutions risk through their credit ratings. But as a common person, layman, what you can do, you can think in the simple line that if that institution or that person going to give me 10% or 20% return, he has to earn more than that. So what sort of a business, how they going to generate that return? So if they can't make that return, no matter their risk rating, the approvals, the promises, the documents that you are having in your possession, someday they're going to be a defaulter, and chance that you would not able to recover your capital as well as the return. Yes.
So that thing is very clear. And there are a lot of things you have to consider before investing your money on kind of a any institution what you select. I think my audience, you can take notes of what he has said. I believe you have to also rethink when you are investing money on a particular institution or a bank. So Niroshan, please explain to our audience what are the opportunities that and trends are available in Sri Lanka and in the world if we go for investments.
Yeah, as I mentioned earlier, it's always strike between your risk and return, and that I would recommend this universal concept of don't put your all eggs in one basket. So what you have to do is you have to split your investment between safe investment. Probably you can invest your high portion of your investment in safe investment and keep some investment to get earn high return. Now the global banking and transaction with the pandemic, of course, recent pandemic, it has been changed vastly. Now the trend is more towards digitalization. For your requirement to be physically presented at place, it's minimum now. Even the bankers, even in Sri Lanka's central bank, they are encouraging citizens to use digital channels, which is, of course, now is very secured method of doing a transaction, and it's at your fingertip. You can do transaction 24/7. Now, the traditional banking is, of course, different. You have to be present yourself at the branch, and you have to see branch manager face and officer face, and do whatever the investment overall decisions. But with the pandemic, of course, and with the development of technology, it has been vastly reduced. I would say, and in time to come, the interaction with the bank would be on digital channels, not physically, because now you see the people are very hesitant to walk into a bank because you get huge crowd, long crowd queues in bank. So the chance of getting infected with various viruses is very high. So what you can do, almost all the leading financial institution, bankers, they do have uh, apps, phone apps, and of course, e-banking, other types of various digital. Even you can do your investment through the digital, using these digital channels. And on the other hand, you can monitor, you can compare your returns with the international or with the competitors, so which gives, I think, better flexibility. So the banking, the trend is digitalization, the interaction, physical interaction becoming less and less. So the bankers are also giving the chance of giving better customer service through this digital. You can streamline your processes, the differences, service differences you experience with your customer service agent, customer service agent interaction. You can minimize that and use this new digital channel to increase your customer satisfaction and the customer experience.
Thank you, Toastmaster Niroshan, for that detailed explanation. I think with that, we have come to the end of our session today. Thank you very much for spending your valuable time with us, enlightening our audience with your experience and knowledge. Pretty sure that a lot of people have learned through our session today. So with that, we'll conclude our session. Thank you, Niroshan.
Thank you, Nimal. Thank you very much for having me. Thanks.